Cats, what's happening? Welcome to the man cave today. Well, it's another beautiful day. Yeah, the weather doesn't know what it's doing, because just like yesterday it was snowing and it was cold, and today I'm in my t-shirt and it's a beautiful day. I think V and I are going to go for a walk and try to work off some of this winter cushion that I got. My topic today is what road can a motorcycle take you? Now, I speak figuratively on that. Not talking about where you're going to ride today, but kind of an overall life thing, like where does a motorcycle take you? Perhaps you don't have a motorcycle. Perhaps you're just getting started in riding a motorcycle. Where's it going to take you? Where is it taking me? Where's it, there's so many different things that can happen. Some people make a life out of a motorcycle. It can change your life. In most cases, it has a pretty big influence on your life, that motorcycle. I hate to say it, but I think that's the truth, and I think a lot of you will agree with me on that, about the motorcycle being a big influence on your life. I know a guy that, he was getting up there in years, and he decided, I think I want to fit into the biker culture. I want to be a biker. So he goes out and he buys himself a brand new Harley Davidson, like a lowrider. It's not a big cruiser or anything, but and he rode it. He didn't ride a lot, let's put it that way. But after about 2 years, he parked in his garage, and it still sits there today. I imagine the tires are probably low. The battery's probably corroded. It probably wouldn't start if you wanted to. Carburetor's probably all gummed up with the same gas he had in there 15 years ago. But yeah, it just, he bought the thing and then realized, well, this isn't really what I want to do. This isn't really who I am. And never did ride again. On the other hand, there's other guys that bought their first motorcycle and just were enamored with it. And it became a lifestyle for them. These guys that join a club, it becomes your life. Everything revolves around that club. Not all clubs. I won't say that. I won't say all clubs, but especially like the 1% clubs, you're giving your whole life to that. Arms and legs, the whole shot. Your whole life goes to the club. It can have impact on your family, and among other things. I mean, life-changing, a motorcycle. Unfortunately, the sad part of it is there are a few people that have succumbed to tragedy on a motorcycle. Whether it be their fault or the fault of another driver. Cagers, we call them. Anybody that drives an automobile, we call them a cager, or this is what we call a cage, because you're like trapped in a truck or trapped in a car like a cage. When you're on a motorcycle, you're free of that cage. It's just some motorcycle lingo that has been brought up through the ages. I have another friend that lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. So he still rides. He loves his motorcycle. He does a lot of riding with a prosthetic leg. And he's a very good rider too. I mean, you'd have a problem keeping up with him. He's pretty hardcore. Now, if that isn't a big life changer, I don't know what is, losing a leg because of a motorcycle. Some people have given up their family. In my situation, I grew up with motorcycles since I was a kid and really loved the riding, the, the, the mechanics of the motorcycle, tearing them down, putting them back together, touring and riding with groups, riding with clubs. Yeah, I was enamored with that. I really loved that kind of lifestyle, that culture. And at the time, it drew me in deep into, a party scene, because there was always parties. All of a sudden, these parties started coming up everywhere for bikers, and I was a part of it, and it changed everything. Uh, I wasn't focused on my family as much as I should have been. In retrospect, I look back and I think, well, I could have spent a lot more time with my kids. I mean, I gave my kids a pretty good upbringing, but nonetheless, I think I could have done a better job if I wouldn't have had a motorcycle in my life, and I would have been more of a dad, instead of a biker and taking off all the time. The motorcycle changed my life dramatically and brought me to a divorce situation. Turned out all for the better. I met V, and her and I have like a beautiful relationship. Amidst all the trials and struggles that we go through, we're fit for each other, and we really love life together. The motorcycle has become a secondary thing at this point. My wife's way more important to me than the bike. So now, and plus I'm getting up in age. So, and that's another thing. Like another buddy that rode for many years and all of a sudden decided just to throw in the towel and give it up. I'm not riding anymore, got rid of his bikes, boom, he was done. His life completely has changed now. He's what I call a homebody. He goes on his job, works his 8 hours a day with a little bit of overtime, comes home, drinks a few beers, crashes, goes back and does it again. And there's no more biker life for him. So if you're brand new to motorcycling and you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's your choice, How far do you want to go with it? Are you so enamored with the motorcycle that you're willing to let it completely change your life, lead you down a whole different road than perhaps you may have gone? You could have been a doctor or a lawyer, but instead you chose to be a biker. No, there are doctors and lawyers that ride. I'm just teasing on that one. But I think you know what I'm getting at. It can draw you in if you let it. And there's a lot of guys that just simply own a motorcycle and they like to go out for a ride by themselves, or they like to go out on the weekend and just ride around the country, maybe go get an ice cream or something. It's a pretty good way to enjoy riding. On the other hand, there's people like myself that took it a little deeper and wanted to be really involved in the motorcycle culture, wanted to ride with other guys, wanted to get involved in everything that was out there related to motorcycles, was going to all the motorcycle rallies, all the bike shows, anything I could find that was related to motorcycles, and then, working on them whenever I had a chance. When I look back at my situation, though, with the motorcycle and where it brought me, it took me down some dark roads, some places that I never expected that I would be in. And it all hinged on who I was riding with, who I was hanging around with, And I don't blame those people entirely. It was my fault too, because I let myself be pulled into it. But it was a place that wasn't for me, that I shouldn't have been. And it just took me too long to figure that out. Fortunately, God bless me, I didn't get myself in deep trouble. I was like so close to getting myself in very, very deep. And the Lord was looking out for me for sure. So I've kind of readapted my life a bit as far as the motorcycle goes now. I certainly don't ride as much as I used to. I have health problems. My wife has health problems. We're getting older now. My eyesight isn't what it once was. My hearing isn't what it once was. And when you get older, you start to really consider, every time I go out on this thing, I just got to be a little more careful. Not to mention the dangers of the road today with this cell phone issue. Everybody's on a cell phone, not paying attention to the motorcycle. So it becomes a little more frightening to try to navigate the roads. Don't let it change your life in a negative way. Think wisely, ride wisely, don't ride foolishly. These kids, I talked the other day about these kids on the sport bikes that take off doing wheelies and going over 100 miles an hour and trying to outrun the police and pulling all kinds of stunts on the highway, in traffic, lane splitting at high speeds. It's not going to end well. It's going to be a life changer. You don't want to go down that road, I'm telling you. Your life's, you got a lot going on for you, and you don't want to throw it away like that. That's my sermon on how a motorcycle can take you down the wrong road, and how you need to be wary of that. When you do ride. Some of us can tell the stories. I mean, some of you guys right now, you've lived maybe in more difficult situations than I have because of a motorcycle, and I know you can share that. My story is not unique. These motorcycles have changed people in millions of ways, and not always for the good. A motorcycle can be like an idol in a way. You can tend to worship it, and some guys do that. They fall in love with their motorcycle. They're enamored with it, and then when they ride it, it's just like a religious experience. Now here's something to consider, a little food for thought. Some people really go overboard in worshiping their motorcycle. They're always polishing it, they're adding chrome adornments, customizing it, painting it, spending all their time nurturing it. And it can become like a god, where it consumes all your time, and you get this bond with this graven image. In one of the 10 Commandments, it says, "Thou shalt not worship any graven image, any idol." And it can become an idol to some people. And not that they're bowing down, praying, and worshiping to it, but they're spending so much time with their motorcycle. Maybe there's something more important that you should be focusing on. Maybe a relationship. Maybe a marriage. Your wife or your girlfriend. Maybe there's other things in life that need a little more attention. Because in the end, this is just a pile of steel, and rubber, wires, oil. That's all it really is. And, it's an enjoyment, and it can be a wonderful hobby. It can be a lot of fun. But you have to know where to draw the line, and you have to know where to focus your attention. Just some things to think about. Well, thanks for watching, cats. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.